All right, shalom to the elect. I want to start by giving all the praises, honor, and glory to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. And Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh is the one of the world ignorantly calls God. Yah means he, and Hawa means to be or exist. So Yahweh's name means he is, or he to be, or he exists. All right? And Yahweh is not a so-called white man, he's a so-called black man. Bahashem means in the name, Ba means in, Ha means the, and Shem means name. Yahweh Shai is the true name of the Messiah. Yahweh Shai is the one of the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Yah means he, and Yahweh Shai means save or deliver. So Yahweh Shai's name means he's the savior, or he is the deliverer. All right, Yahweh Shai also is not a so-called white man, he's a so-called black man. Bahashem, once again, meaning in the name, and Rakak Kwadash meaning Holy Spirit. Rakal meaning spirit, and Kwadash meaning holy. So I said all the praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. That will honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, every well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect. All right. And this lesson, this is the second part, all right, to the series, Israelite history. Okay, and this one is going into this chapter, Exodus 26, and we going through. All right, it goes into the tabernacle in the wilderness. Okay, and before I started, all right, this one, this chapter, once again, this is a continuation, all right, from, the Lord, all right, beginning to give Moses, this is a continuation, from the last chapter of the Lord giving Moses the instructions to make these different things regarding the tabernacle in the wilderness, okay? Once again, in this chapter, the tabernacle is, the instruction of the tabernacle, all right, is being told, all right? It's not being made just yet, okay? This is the instructions. They had to get the instruction first, all right? And on the right, is a picture here. The tabernacle, give you an idea. The tabernacle is that building, all right, that big building in the middle, all right? Not the tabernacle itself is not you know, the so-called gates around it, all right? The tabernacle is, the big building in the middle, okay? In the middle of those gates, all right? And this video right here, all right, on YouTube, you just type in Bible scenes, the tabernacle in the wilderness, walkthrough, Exodus 26. It's a good, it's a good, it gives you a good idea of how it, was constructed, pretty much, thinking, it gives you a good idea of, how it's structured, okay? So let's go into the tabernacle, and, it says curtains of linen. So Exodus 26:1, it says, "Moreover, thou shalt make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, in blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work shalt thou make them." All right, let me just look at this word tabernacle real quick. All right, a tabernacle, the Hebrew word here is mashkan or mashakan, if I'm saying that right, Salakia. It says dwelling place, tabernacle, dwelling place, dwellings. Okay, and I want to get a precept real quick. All right, this is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, starting in verse 4. All right, it says, "And it came to pass that night that the word of Yahweh came unto Nathan, saying, Go and tell my servant David thus." So like it says, "Go and tell my servant David, thus saith Yahweh, shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in?" Matter of fact, okay, I'm going to start from the top. All right, it says, David plans to build the temple, We know that the first temple was constructed or built by King Solomon, which King Solomon, all right, was one of Yahweh Shai's past reincarnations. Okay? So the 2 Samuel chapter 7, starting in verse 1, "And it came to pass when the king sat in his house," talking about King David, "and Yahweh had given him rest round about from all his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, See now, I dwell in a house of cedar, but the ark of Yahweh dwelleth within curtains. And Nathan said to the king, Go, do all that is in thine heart, for Yahweh is with thee. And it came to pass that night that the word of Yahweh came unto Nathan, saying, Go and tell my servant David, Thus saith Yahweh, Shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in?" Verse 6, "Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle. Okay? You know, on the tabernacle in the wilderness. All right? You know, but I've walked in a tent and in a tabernacle. Okay? And yeah, man, so going back to Exodus 26. All right? So, let me just see. It's another picture that gets close up. Yeah, I'll just have this right here. All right, so Exodus 26, continuing on. Verse 2, Exodus 26 and 2, the length of one curtain shall be 8 and 20 cubits, and the length of one curtain 4 cubits. No, slack. Verse 1 again. Moreover, thou shalt make the tabernacle of 10 curtains, with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, in blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work shalt thou make them. All right. So this is from here to verse 14. All right. This is the Salakia. Salakia. From this verse to verse 7. All right. This is regarding the first layer over the tabernacle. Okay. This is regarding the first layer that would be over the tabernacle. And then once again, these are just the instructions for it. So the first layer will have to be made of fine twined linen, blue, purple, and scarlet. All right, with cherubims on it. With embroidery of cherubims on it, man. All right. Verse 2, the length of one curtain shall be 8 and 20 cubits. Okay. And the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits, and every one of the curtains shall have one measure. Verse 3, the 5 curtains shall be coupled or joined. Coupled means joined together one to another. And other 5 curtains shall be joined or coupled one to another. So we have 5 curtains on one set and 5 curtains on another set, attached to each other. All right, it says, and thou shalt make loops of blue upon the edge of the one curtain from the selvage in the coupling. And likewise shalt thou make in the uttermost edge of another curtain and the coupling of the second. 50 loops shalt thou make in the edge of the curtain that is in the coupling of the second, that the loops may take hold one of another. And thou shalt make 50 taches of gold and couple the curtains together. And those taches, all right, it's talking about like a hook or a clasp. All right. Let me just look it up. The Hebrew word is koras. All right. And it says a hook, it's like, hook or a clasp, pretty much. All right. It says, and thou shalt make 50 taches of gold and couple the curtains together. Or couple the curtains together with the taches, and it shall be one tabernacle. So, you would join those 2 sets. All right. Because remember, you have 5 joined to one, 5 joined to another. And, you have these different hooks and things, to join it together so it could be one complete tent or one complete covering over the tabernacle. All right. And that will be the first layer. Now, verse 7. All right. That's Salakia. Hold on one second. All right, Exodus chapter 26 and verse 7. It says, now shalt make curtains of goat's hair. All right, this is going to be the second layer over it. Okay. It says, and thou shalt make curtains of goat's hair from this verse down to verse 13. All right, it's going to be the second layer. All right, over the tabernacle. It says, now shalt make curtains of goat's hair to be a covering upon the tabernacle. 11 curtains shalt thou make. All right, so 11 curtains in total. All right, would be, would make up the second layer. All right, verse 28. Salakia, verse 8. It says, the length of one curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits, and the 11 curtains shall be all of one measure. Verse 9, and thou shalt couple 5 or join 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves. So in one set you have 5 curtains of goats' hair, and another set you had 6 curtains of goats' hair, all equaling 11. All right, it says, and shall double the 6th curtain in the forefront of the tabernacle. All right, it says in Salakia. Verse 10, it says, now shalt make 50 loops on the edge of the one curtain that is outmost in the coupling, and 50 loops on the edge of the curtain which coupleth the second. And thou shalt make 50 attachments of brass, hooks or clasps of brass, and put the attachments into the loops, and couple or join the tent together, that it may be one. So you would join those goats' hair together. So it end up just being one. It could just end up being one. All right, so you would pretty much make 50 hooks or clasps of brass, to connect both sets, so it could be one piece. Verse 12, and the remnant or remainder that remaineth of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remaineth shall hang over the back side of the tabernacle. Right. All right, so pretty much, you would have, extra of the goat's hair, it would hang over the back of the tabernacle. Okay. So I can find a picture, but just go to that video I was pretty much showing you. They show you an idea of it. Okay. They pretty much show you an idea, of the back of hanging over the tabernacle. Okay. Verse 13. It says, and a cubit on the one side, and a cubit on the other side of that which remaineth in the length of the curtains of the tent, it shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle on this side and on that side to cover it. Okay. And now verse 14, it says, and thou shalt make a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, and a covering above of badger skin. So you see, when you read back in Exodus 25, it's saying, these different things were, offered up, for the making of the tabernacle. You see now these things are getting used. Okay. So, these are instructions. These are instructions that Jake would have to offer these things up so that they could be used for the tabernacle. All right. They didn't, get to doing it just yet. Right now, Moses is getting the instructions for it. Okay. Then in verse 15, it says boards and sockets. All right. Oh, Slocky, verse 14. So yeah, then it would be, the third. So the third layer, it says, and thou shalt make a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red. That would be the third layer. And the covering above of badger skins. All right. And that would be the fourth layer over the tabernacle. Now, verse 15, because once again, these are just, coverings that was put over the tabernacle. Now you would have, the construction of the walls and things of the tabernacle. Okay. Verse 15, it says, and thou shalt make boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood standing up. All right. And let me just try to type this in. Let me just get an image. All right. So it says, Exodus 26:15, and thou shalt make boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood standing up. 10 cubits shall be the length of a board, and a cubit and a half shall be the breadth of one board. Okay. The boards, they will be, like the things going around the tabernacle. All right. The different walls and things. All right. Verse 17 says, 2 tenons shall there be in one board, set in order one against another. Thus shalt thou make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And thou shalt make the boards for the tabernacle 20 boards on the south side, southward. All right. And thou shalt make 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. Okay. And yeah, so pretty much, 40 sockets of silver go under the 20 boards on the south side. Okay, on the south side of the tabernacle. Verse 20. And for the second side of the tabernacle on the north side, there shall be 20 boards. Okay. And there 40 sockets of silver. Okay, Salakia. right, I'm at verse 21 now. I'm going to reread it. All right, it says, and there, Salakia, I'm going to reread verse 20. It says, and for the second side of the tabernacle on the north side there shall be 20 boards, and there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. All right. Those are 40 sockets of silver for the boards under each. All right. And so we got the north side and the south side. Okay. And these were the, more wider parts or longer parts of the tabernacle, the north and south side of the tabernacles, or it's like the tabernacle. All right. Verse 22. And for the sides of the tabernacle, so like it says, for the sides of the tabernacle westward, thou shalt make 6 boards, and 2 boards shalt thou make for the corners of the tabernacle in the 2 sides. And they shall be coupled together, and they shall be coupled together above the head of it unto one ring. Thus shall it be for them both. They shall be for the 2 corners, and this is talking about, which would be towards the back of the tabernacle. All right? You have 2 boards and things back there. All right? You have, the boards, and then you have 2 boards. All right? You have, the 6 boards, and you have 2 extra boards, for the 2 corners in the back of the tabernacle, which would be the west side of it. All right? I read this part, verse 25. It says, and they shall be 8 boards, and their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. All right? So, I'm going to read it again. So for the sides of the tabernacle westward, thou shalt make 6 boards. So the back part of the back wall of the tabernacle had 6 boards, and 2 boards shalt thou make for the corners of the tabernacle in 2 sides. So then you would have 2 corners boards for the back. All right. It says, and they shall be coupled together beneath, they shall be coupled together above the head of it unto one ring. Thus shall it be for them both. They shall be for the 2 corners, and they shall be 8 boards. 8 boards in total. All right, so you had the 6 making up the back, and then you had the 2 extra ones, and their sockets of silver, 16 sockets. 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. So you had 8 boards in total in the back, and you had 2 sockets under each board. So it would be 16 boards. 16 sockets. Verse 26. And thou shalt make bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the Salak. Let me read it. Salak. My mind just went somewhere in Salak. Exodus 26 and 27, and 5 bars. Salak. I'm going to start from verse 26 again. And thou shalt make bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle. All right. And 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the side of the tabernacle for the 2 sides westward. All right. And so 5 bars of wood will be made for the south, north, and west sides of the tabernacle each. You can see on the image here, it has the purple arrows pointing to the boards. They would be on the going alongside the sides of the tabernacle. Okay. For the west, south, and north sides of it. Verse 28. It says, and the middle bar in the midst of the boards shall reach from end to end. And thou shalt overlay the boards with gold, and make their rings of gold for places for the bars, and thou shalt overlay or cover the bars with gold. Verse 30. It says, and thou shalt rear up the tabernacle according to the fashion thereof, which was show thee in the mount. Right? So it says the veil and the screen. All right. And you're going to find, once again, amen, because in the previous chapter, it goes into, how Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua, pretty much, the Lord was telling Moses, to make, the Lord was giving Moses the instructions on making the ark, the tabernacle, the ark, the table for showbread, the menorah. All right, and now you're going to see some more stuff here, okay? And that also is going to be involved in the rest of this chapter here. All right, so it's the veil and the screen. And thou shalt make a veil of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen of cunning work, with cherubim shall it be made. All right, Now let me just get, picture here. All right. This is a good picture. All right. It says, "And thou shalt make a veil of blue." Let me just look at this word veil here. The Hebrew word here is parakath, if I'm saying that right. Or parakath, either one. All right. And it says curtain, veil. All right. It says, Salakia, "Thou shalt make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen of cunning work with cherubim shall it be made." So they had to make a veil of these different things, of blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen of cunning work, and they had to make, they had to make it with cherubim, embroidery on it, embroidery of cherubims on it. Verse 32, it says, "And thou shalt hang it upon 4 pillars of shittim wood overlaid with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold upon the 4 sockets of silver." So they had 4 pillars, overlaid with gold on it. So like, let me say that again. This veil, all right, that was mentioned in verse 31, it would be hung up, all right, on 4 pillars, overlaid or covered in gold. Okay, the veil will be hung on the pillars of the wood that is to be covered in gold, and the pillars will have gold hooks attached to the veil that the veil will hang from. Okay. Verse 33, "And thou shalt hang up the veil under the taches." Those clasps. Okay, let me just look at that word taches again. Koras. It says hook. Yeah, it says, "Now shalt hang up the veil under the taches, that thou mayest bring in thither and there within the veil, inside the veil, the ark of the testimony. And the veil shall divide unto you between the holy place and the most holy." And this is where, people, so that's, that's where you hear, people say, regarding the tabernacle, the Holy of Holies, that was inside the tabernacle. That would be that, the Holy of Holies, that would be that room that, the Holy of Holies in the tabernacle, that would be that room that the Ark of the Covenant was sitting in. All right, that this veil that's being talked about covered. It separated that veil. It's like it separated that room from the room that you're going to see. All right. It says, "And thou shalt put the mercy seat upon the Ark of the Testimony in the most holy place. And thou shalt set the table." So, Salakia. All right, let me go back up and read this again. Exodus 26 and 33. "And thou shalt hang up the veil under the taches, that thou mayest bring into within the veil the ark of the testimony, and the veil shall divide unto you between the holy place and the most holy." So I'm gonna just explain it through. I try to read it, to help you understand it. But pretty much, once again, this veil, all right, that's being spoken about right here, it would separate that room that the ark was in, which that room would be called the Holy of Holies, in the tabernacle, okay? And outside of that, outside of that veil, you would have, the candlestick, which is the menorah. You would have the altar of incense, and you would have, the table of showbread. Okay, so that veil will separate those rooms. Verse 35 says, "And thou shalt set the table without the veil, table without, meaning outside the veil, and the candlestick over against the table on the side of the tabernacle toward the south." So it says, "Now shalt put the table on the north side." So the menorah and the table of showbread will be facing each other. All right, in that room that's separated, in that room outside of the room the Ark of the Covenant was in. Verse 36, and once again, these things get set up in a later chapter. All right, verse 36, it says, "Now shalt make an hanging for the door of the tent." So the entrance into the tabernacle, right? It says, And thou shalt make an hanging for the door of the tent of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen wrought with needlework. You see? It says, and thou shalt make for the hanging 5 pillars of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold, and the hook shall be of gold, and thou shalt cast 5 sockets of brass for them. Give me 1 second. So, yeah, that's pretty much, it. So, Lord, when this was edifying, to the next time, shalom.